first boot. Bud's all killer, no filler image. Already off to a good start. He said since his last build he sent out, he read all the comments, people reached out to him, talked to him, and what he did was he removed a lot of the media, he fixed some of the media files, he added 4 additional games, he fixed some media files that were messed up, so all games except hack games should be fully functional. He said he went in and he added a folder for hack games as well. So a lot of little fixes on this V.2 64GB all killer no filler. Let's check it out. Alright, so let's start with arcade. You got 1,050 arcade games. Neo Geo 120, Atari 2600 300, Atari 7850, Atari Lynx 40, Nintendo only 375. So again, he's not just throwing all 700 Nintendo games in here. He's selecting some of his favorites, some games he really likes to play. No fluff, just good games. And this is going to allow him to add Dreamcast and Nintendo 64 and other systems on a 64GB SD card. Super Nintendo 470, Nintendo 64 175. So still a lot, but a lot of the catalog is working now, especially with the way emulators are and that we have the Raspberry Pi 3B+. So a lot of these games are going to run just fine. So as far as Nintendo 64, here are your 100 games. Killer Instinct actually runs okay. Micro Machines, great game. So I played some of these games. Some of these games might have some graphical glitches in them. But there's a lot of games here. I think if anything, this is where you could probably delete a few games if you want additional space. But as I showed you, or am going to show you, there's over 3 gigabytes remaining on this image. 150 Game Boy Advance games. Nintendo DS 40. So a lot of 64 gigabyte images do not have Nintendo DS on them. You do got the Terminator on there. Dreamcast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 Dreamcast games. Game Gear 60. PlayStation 20 games. PSP 5. Metal Slug Power Stone Collection. PSP Minis 20. So some good, these games are fun. Yeah, that version of Tetris is really great. That version of Pac-Man is really nice, full color. Angry Birds, 321 Super Crash, great game. TurboGrafx 1650. And then you have Retropie Setup. Collection. So you have arcade old school. So, you know, these are going to be your really old school arcade games. Centipede, Burger Time, Dig Dug 1 and 2, Donkey Kong. A lot of great games there. And then we have hack games as well. So with this one, I don't think it tells you how many hack games there are there. But about 25. And then NES, quite a bit more. Close to 50, I want to say. And then SNES hacks. And you will later in this video, you'll see exactly how many it has. A lot here. Wow. A lot of SNES hacks. So this is the only places where there's no video snaps or artwork. Oh, wow. Actually, just no, a lot of them have snaps. Just no the box art in the beginning. So really nice. Some of these games will have media. But he mentioned that in the video that you're not necessarily going to have it for every game. Complete collection. So this image, only 3,400 games, because this isn't a throw everything on it. It's a compact, no filler, you know, only the best of the best. Good games that you should definitely try out if you haven't tried out before. Now in favorites, how many favorites do we have here? 20. So 1080 snowboarding, really great. 321 Super Crash, I can attest to that game. Alex a Kid, Asteroids, Bonk. So a lot of Contra. Yeah, these games are must plays. For sure, there's a really good Mario Kart, good Metal Slug. Night Trap. I haven't played a lot of that game. I think that's a game I need to spend some more time on. Soul Calibur, Simpsons Arcade Classic, Todd's Adventure. This is another one I need to play more. I've heard good things. Tomb Raider, great classic game. So all the bezels are on here, all the bezel projects, things like that. So as you can see, lots of pre-installed things for you: track mode, bezel project, background music, Dreamcast time and date fix. You can see I tried overclocking, it does work. And also you have over 3 gigabytes of space remaining on a 64 gigabyte card. As far as the file size, it is 59.4 gigabytes at 63,864,570,000 bytes. I have it on a SanDisk Ultra 64 gigabyte and have no issues whatsoever. Another really cool thing is he has a whole write-up on this. When you get the file, he attaches this Word document, and this is what's in it. Page 1, Bud 71, all filler, no killer. So 3,400 games total, 20 systems. Here's the breakdown of systems and games. Here's the collections category. We went through this earlier in the video. His favorites: preloaded screens, custom background music. He has a ton of splash screens. Bezel projects installed, game video previews for most games. I would agree with that. It's like 95% or more. A couple of general menu controls, from the systems page, what does what, from your games page, what does what. Common functions: adjust your volume, adjust the theme, really easy to do. Add or remove favorites, and then the overclock settings. So really cool that he made this little write-up. It really helps a lot of people out, I think, and answers a lot of those common questions. So if you do want to set up your Dreamcast controls, you just go over here to Retropie Setup, Configuration Tools, Rycast, OK, and then the next screen should be an option to configure devices. And then here you go. You can see I have a gaming keyboard. You do need a keyboard installed, so I want my Afterglow Xbox controller. Do you want to map an exit button? Yes. I like to use my Xbox 360 controller button, the middle X button. Or you could use select, is also great. Do you want to map an A? Yes. And then hit A. Do you want a B? Yes. Hit B. Do you want a C? No. Do you want a D? No. X? Yes. Y? Yes. Do you want a Z? No. Start? Yes. Do you want a D-pad 1? Yes. Turn to the left. The D-pad to the left. Turn it up. Do you want to map a D-pad 2? No. Do you want to... No. Do you want a trigger? Yes. Left. Yes. Trigger right. Analog stick? Yes. As far left as possible, as far up as possible. And that's it.
Battle 1. Fight!
Alright, let me get my Xbox controller button, and that should back us out. So you go Dreamcast, working really good, especially once you get those controls hooked up. So arcade, this does have the bezel project installed, so you'll see here in just a second. And there you go, you got the bezel project. So he said he installed the bezel project and updated it to as much as they have done so far. Woo! It's getting hot in here. We got many bogeys. All right, so that works. And let's go ahead and check out a track mode. All right, here we are in a track mode. You can see the main menu is a vertical menu here. And then as we go into a system, I'll show you a hard scroll here. And then as you go into a system, for example, Sega 32X, you're going to use X on your controller to start if you're using an Xbox 360. And there you go. We can hard scroll, and you have your different games. We're at the end of the list there. We can scroll left to right to go to different systems. So Sega CD, I'm going to hit right again. Dreamcast, Sega Game Gear. So really basic, but very functional a track mode. And then if I go back, I can go back to the main menu, and you have all of your consoles there. In a track mode set, first of all, exit, as well as if you hit the exit from here and you say yes, it will shut down your system. Some people have it go to command prompt. Some people have it go directly to to exit the whole console and turn off the Raspberry Pi. This one has it turning off. So you got background music. You got all the same scripts and options like you do in Emulation Station. So everything that you have there, Bezel Project, everything is there. And it's just a little different because you have the wheel. A lot of other track modes use a vertical or some other menu. But it's all congruent. It's all similar in style. Let's just go ahead and try a game. So we're going to go ahead and jump into, let's do like a Genesis game to check out the bezels here as well. Try X, and it's working good. And if you want to get back to Emulation Station, all you want to do, you definitely don't want to exit out of track mode like that. You want to go down to retro or a track mode setup, click into here, and then there should be an option for Emulation Station at some point. There it is. And that'll reboot into Emulation Station. All right, so there you have it. Bud's All Filler, No Killer, Edition 2. You all know I love it when a creator redoes their image, especially when there's more than just splash screens or really small fixes. Like, it seems like he went through and he did quite a bit of things. I think having the Bezel project pre-installed for you, fixing those box arts for you, adding some additional games, kind of slimming it up, making sure little fixes are done. You might not notice them at first, but they were done for you. It makes the image better. It makes it, more and more complete. You're always going to find little things, but for all those reasons, I want to give this one an A because, he looked at everything, he took the feedback, made it even better. My impressions on this is he was using a lot of 2-play and Virtual Man stuff. I noticed that he took their Overclocked Script, their loading screens, things like that. So he has, I don't know if he's talking with them or working with them, but they've done a really good job as far as making scripts and things that really work well. The only one I wasn't a fan of is the Overclocked Script. The reason I don't like the Overclocked Script is I feel it doesn't work that great. For example, I'm on a Raspberry Pi 3B Plus. I overclocked it, and in a track mode, it started freezing like crazy. Personally, I think that's because it's a 1.55 overclock. I think if you just go to 1.5, it would be better. But again, that's just my opinion. It might be different on your Pi or whatever. But I think it runs great just on a stock Raspberry Pi 3B Plus. If you have a Raspberry Pi 3, feel free to overclock that script. I know does work for that. I think in the future, that's something that I would update, which is having different overclock settings for the Raspberry Pi 3B Plus, like having a 1.5, a 1.55, maybe 1.525, whatever the case may be. But that's not really the image creator's job, and most people are not going to overclock, so I wouldn't really be worried about that. What I do like is that this is all killer, no filler, and that there's a lot of really great games on here. So if somebody was just getting into retro gaming or didn't want to spend a ton of money on an SD card but wanted a really nice image, this would be one of the ones I would point them to, because as I mentioned, it's a lot of great games, not a lot of fluff. So if you do get lost and you find yourself in some weird directory, you're probably going to have a good time. Where some of these other images out there with these big ROM packs, if you're not used to these games or you don't know the games, you might play a game that's kind of lame, or not that great. So little images like this are great because it is so catered and it is specific. So with all that said, I give it an A. That's what I think. Let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.